All right, so today we are going deep, deep into philosophy.
Deep, deep.
Yeah, one of those topics that keeps you up at night,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
free will, but with a bit of a specific angle.
Right.
We're looking at it from the perspective of incompatibilists.
Okay.
And we're working from this excerpt from the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, Incompatibilist Theories of Free Will, which just the title alone.
It's a mouthful.
Yeah, it's dense stuff, so hopefully
Yeah.
we can unpack it.
Absolutely.
So basically, to start us off, what does it mean to be an incompatibilist when we're talking about free will?
So incompatibilists believe that free will and determinism can't both be true. So determinism is basically the idea that,
Like everything's already decided.
yeah, everything that's going to happen is already set. It's like a chain of dominoes, and it's all just going to play out in one way. And so incompatibilists say, if that's true, then we don't have free will, right?
Yeah.
If everything's predetermined, our choices aren't really free.
So it's like we're just along for the ride.
Exactly.
Even though it seems like we're making choices, it's just the dominoes falling.
Yeah, it's like an illusion of choice, maybe?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Even within incompatibilism, there are a bunch of different views on how free will could work.
It's so interesting because at first you think, okay, determinism is wrong, free will wins, but
Right, agreed,
it
exactly.
gets more complicated than that.
Yeah, it's not just one big happy family. They're all kind of disagreeing with each other about the details.
Oh, yeah, sure. So it's like, how can we still have free will
Right.
even if the universe isn't like a completely predictable clockwork machine?
Yeah, that's the puzzle. That's what all these different theories are trying to figure out.
Okay, so let's get into those theories. Where do we even start with all these different takes?
Well, I think a good place to start is with what are called non-causal theories.
Non-causal.
And these are, I think you could say, the most radical of all the incompatibilist theories, because radical in the sense that they just completely
ditch the whole idea of causes for free actions.
So they're like, free will is just a thing.
Yeah.
That just happened.
It just kind of springs forth from the void, essentially. They're saying that...
So like no reason.
Truly free actions don't need to be caused by anything. And some philosophers, some big names in this camp, like Carl Genet and Hugh McCann, they even say that for an action to be truly free, it absolutely must be uncaused.
Hold on. So are they saying that my decision to have another cup of coffee, that just appeared in my brain?
Yeah. It wasn't because you saw the coffee pot or because you were feeling sleepy. It was just like...
I just decided.
Boom. Pure agency, pure will.
My will is so powerful, it doesn't need a reason.
It transcends causality.
But, okay.
It's mind-blowing.
Yeah, I'm trying to, picture this.
Yeah.
Like, how does that work in the real world?
Right.
If we're just doing things for no reason.
Yeah. That's exactly one of the big challenges, right? Critics are like, well, if my actions are truly uncaused, then how do we explain anything? And how do we control our actions if they're just popping up out of nowhere? It's a big mystery. Like, what makes me choose A over B if there's no prior thought, no prior desire?
Okay, so I can see why those are called radical.
Right.
Because they kind of throw out a lot of what we normally think about.
They're really pushing the boundaries.
Yeah, okay. So maybe non-causal theories are a little too out there for me right now. What's next on this incompatibilist menu?
All right. So let's step back from the void and look at what are called event causal theories.
Event causal.
And these are a bit more, let's say, grounded.
Okay, good. Grounded.
Yeah, because they say, okay, actions do have causes.
Okay.
But those causes have to be non-deterministic.
Non-deterministic. So that means not random?
Not completely random, but not set in stone either.
Okay, so there's like a little bit of wiggle room.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a coin flip that's slightly weighted towards heads. It could still land on tails, but it's less likely.
Okay, so it's like we're still influenced by things, by our past, by our genes, whatever. It's not a guarantee.
It's not 100%. There's some space for genuine possibility for different outcomes.
I like that. Yeah, like it's not pure randomness, but it's also not like fate.
Exactly. It's somewhere in between.
Okay, so within this event causal world, are there different?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So one type is called, and get ready for another mouthful.
Okay.
Deliberative indeterminism.
Indeterminism.
And this one basically says that the chance, that little wiggle room, comes in early on in the decision-making process.
So even before I know I'm making a decision.
Yeah, potentially.
It's already kind of nudging me.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe it influences which beliefs or memories you happen to recall.
Oh.
So you might be more likely to make a certain choice because you just happen to remember something.
So it's shaping my choice, but
Yeah.
it's not dictating it.
Exactly. It's subtle. It's more like a nudge than a forceful push.
A nudge. Okay.
And then there's another type called centered accounts,
Okay.
where the chance, the indeterminism, comes in right at the moment of choice.
Okay, so
Yeah.
even if, like
Right.
everything, my past experiences, my genes, my beliefs, all point me towards one choice.
Yeah.
There's still a possibility I could go the other way.
Yeah. At the very last second.
Whoa. Is there a champion of this view, like a philosopher who really promotes it?
Yeah. Robert Caine is a big name
Okay.
in this camp. He focuses on those situations where we have, like, conflicting desires. You know, like maybe your sense of morality is saying, do this, but then there's this, like, tempting, but maybe not so ethical option over here.
I know those.
And he says, in those moments, our efforts of will, like when we're really trying to make the right choice, there's an element of chance that can tip the scales one way or the other.
So he's saying, like, that internal struggle is where the chance comes in.
Yeah. It's like we're all gamblers inside our own heads trying to beat the odds.
Oh, that's a really interesting way to think about it.
Yeah. It's a good metaphor.
Yeah, so it's not like the chance is out there in the universe. It's
like in the struggle.
It's part of the decision-making process itself.
Exactly.
Okay. But even with this chance, with this wiggle room, I'm still wondering, like, how does that make us responsible for our actions?
That's the big question, right?
Yeah.
Like, if chance played a role in my decision,
Right.
can you really blame me for choosing the chocolate cake over the salad?
Or can you praise me for
praise you for,
doing the right thing if it was just a coin flip?
Yeah, if it was just luck, it seems like.
Okay.
Maybe responsibility goes out the window.
Yeah.
Like that's a tricky one. It's a tricky one. So it seems like we're always kind of hitting up against this question of how do we balance freedom with any kind of influence?
That's the heart of the free will problem.
Yeah.
But there's one more theory we need to explore, and this one goes even deeper.
Deeper. Okay, I'm ready. Hit me with it.
Okay. Get ready for agent causal theories.
Agent causal.
Agent causal.
Okay, agent causal.
And these take a very different approach.
Okay.
They say the real cause of our free actions isn't some event happening in our brain, but our very selves as agents.
Wait, so it's not like my neurons firing.
Yeah.
It's like me as a person.
Yeah, you as a whole, as an agent.
Okay.
Think of it this way. We say the sun causes sunburn, right? The sun, a thing, has a power to cause an effect.
So you're saying, like, I'm a thing that has the power to cause...
You as an agent, you have a causal power.
Okay.
The power to choose freely.
So I'm not just a bunch of chemical reactions happening in my skull?
Right. You're not just a collection of brain states.
Yeah.
You're a distinct entity with your own causal force.
I'm an agent.
Yeah.
That's a big...
It's a profound idea, right?
Yeah.
And it might actually solve that problem of luck.
Oh, okay.
Because now the difference between choosing option A and option B isn't just random chance. It's an expression of your agency. Your fundamental self is making the call.
It's not just a coin flip in my head. It's like...
You, at the deepest level.
Me deciding.
Choosing.
Yeah.
Okay, but how do we know that's true?
Right.
Like,
yeah, that's a huge question.
How do we even begin to test that?
Well, that's one of the big challenges for agent causal theories. Can we really make sense of a self causing something without it boiling down to events happening within that self?
Yeah.
Like, where's the line between me as an agent and my brain doing its thing? And does this concept of agent causation really set us apart from the rest of the universe where cause and effect seem to rule?
So are we somehow special?
Yeah, are we exceptions to the laws of physics? Yeah.
These are questions philosophers are still wrestling with.
Wow. So we've got these radical non-causal theories.
Right.
We've got these event causal theories with the nudges and the gambles.
Yeah, the wiggle room.
And now we have this
agent causation.
Agent causation where we're like special beings who can somehow influence the universe.
It's a whole spectrum of ideas, but the big question is there any reason to think any of this is actually true?
Okay, yeah.
Like, do we have any evidence?
It's one thing to have a theory, but
Yeah.
do we actually see it playing out in the world?
That's the million-dollar question.
Okay.
And that's what we're going to get into next time.
Okay, stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
We're going to look at the evidence, or lack thereof,
Or lack thereof.
for these fascinating
Incompatibilist theories of free will.
All right, see you next time.
See you then.
Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive.
Yeah, good to be back. So last time, we laid out all these different, types of incompatibilism.
Right.
We have the non-causal theories, where things are just poof, happening.
Out of the void.
Then we talked about those event-causal theories.
With the nudges and the gambles.
Yeah, like the wiggle room in our choices.
Right, right.
And then finally, those really those agent-causal theories where it's like, we're just different.
We are the cause.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But after all that theory, we have to ask,
the big question.
Yeah,
The evidence question.
is there any reason to think any of this is actually,
Right.
true, happening in the world?
Yeah, are we just doing philosophical daydreaming here?
Yeah, exactly. Are these really intricate explanations of how free will could work? Or is there actually something to them?
Yeah, that's a real challenge for incompatibilists.
Yeah.
They don't just need to show that determinism is wrong.
Yes.
They need to show that there's a very specific type of indeterminism happening in very specific places in our brains.
So not just that the universe is random,
Right.
but that our brains
Yeah, at the very moment of decision.
have this special randomness.
Exactly.
Okay, so where do we even start looking for this?
Well, some people try to point to quantum physics as evidence for this kind of indeterminism.
So the idea is that, at the smallest level,
Yeah, like the subatomic level,
it's
probabilistic.
random.
Yeah, there's this inherent randomness to reality.
Okay, but hold on. If everything at the quantum level is random, wouldn't that make our choices less free?
It's a great question.
Yeah, if
it's just random particles doing their thing, how is that any different from just being controlled by fate?
Right. I wouldn't be making choices. It'd just be
it'd be random.
Yeah, not free.
Okay, so quantum physics, while very cool,
Yes, fascinating.
doesn't quite solve the free will puzzle. Right, and the interpretation of quantum mechanics is still heavily debated. So yeah, we can't say for sure that it proves indeterminism.
Okay, so what other kinds of evidence do incompatibilists rely on?
Some point to our own subjective experience.
Oh.
They say the feeling of freedom we have when we make choices.
That it feels like we have options.
Or it feels real, right?
Yeah. But couldn't that just be an illusion?
That's a possibility.
Yeah, our brains are really good at tricking us.
Oh, yeah. Think about optical illusions.
Yeah.
Those mess with our perception all the time.
Yeah. So could free will just be a really convincing...
Yeah, what if our brains are wired?
Brain trick.
Yeah, wired to make us feel like we're in control.
Even though we might not be.
Even if it's just this complex but ultimately deterministic process happening.
Okay, so maybe introspection, what it feels like to make a choice.
Right.
Isn't the strongest evidence?
Maybe not the most reliable, yeah.
So what other arguments are out there?
Well, another line of reasoning focuses on moral responsibility.
Okay.
The idea is, if we don't have genuine free will,
Right.
we can't really be held responsible for our actions.
Yeah, that makes sense.
If our choices are all predetermined,
yeah.
it seems unfair to blame someone for doing something bad.
Right, it's like blaming a robot for
Exactly.
doing what it's programmed to do.
So some incompatibilists say the very fact that we hold each other morally accountable, that we have a justice system, that we praise people for good deeds,
Implies that there must be.
implies that free will must be real.
Okay, so it's we're starting from this idea that moral responsibility is real.
Yeah.
And then we're saying, okay,
And working backwards
free will must be the thing.
to make it possible.
That explains it.
Yeah.
Okay, but couldn't that just be wishful thinking?
It's a possibility, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we want to believe in free will.
Because it makes us feel better.
Yeah, it gives us a sense of control over our lives.
Right, so we create these...
Invent these justifications.
Yeah. Okay, so we've looked at quantum physics, we've looked at introspection,
Right.
we've looked at this argument from moral responsibility.
And it still seems like
And we still don't really have,
solid proof.
that definitive evidence.
So does that mean we just give up and say, okay, free will is an illusion?
That's a tough question.
Yeah.
It's we're caught between these really interesting theories.
Right.
and this lack of, like, hard evidence.
Yeah, a lack of that smoking gun.
Yeah.
So what do we do?
Welcome back.
Back for more free will pondering.
Yeah, we've been on quite a journey.
We have, haven't we?
Through this, like, incompatibilist world.
Incompatibilist landscape, yeah.
Thinking about uncaused actions and the self as this, like, ultimate cause.
Whoa.
It's a lot to take in.
It really stretches the mind, doesn't it?
But I keep coming back to this question of evidence.
Right.
If we don't have, like, proof
Yeah.
that the universe operates the way these theories need it to.
That's the big question mark, isn't it?
Yeah, like, where does that leave us?
Yeah.
Do we just surrender?
Do we just say, okay, free will is an illusion?
Throw in the towel.
Yeah.
Admit defeat.
I'm not sure I'm ready to do that.
It's a hard one to swallow.
Yeah, it's like
To think that our lives are just,
predetermined.
yeah, just playing out.
And our choices don't really matter.
Like, we're just along for the ride.
Yeah, and it just feels so wrong,
It goes against everything we feel.
Yeah. We feel free.
We experience that sense of agency.
Even if we can't, like, prove it scientifically.
Right.
So is there a way to, like, reconcile that feeling with the possibility that maybe our choices aren't completely, like, independent of everything that's come before?
Maybe the key is to rethink what we mean by free will in the first place.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, maybe it's not this all or nothing thing.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's a middle ground.
Okay, like a more nuanced view.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Where we acknowledge that, yes, we have some degree of freedom.
But our choices aren't made in a vacuum.
Right.
They're influenced by a whole web of factors. Our genes, our environment, our past experiences, all of it.
It's like we're part of a story.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah, like a grand interconnected story.
Yeah, we're not these isolated agents.
Right, pulling levers.
Yeah, making choices out of nowhere.
We're part of this, like, ongoing narrative.
Influencing the future, being shaped by the past.
And interacting with everything around us.
Exactly. It's a constant interplay.
So we're not completely free.
Right.
But we're not.
But we're not powerless either.
Powerless, yeah. We have
a role to play.
Yeah, some say in the matter.
And maybe that's the real challenge, figuring out how this limited freedom we have actually operates.
We get all the complexity.
Yeah, within the constraints of the natural world.
So it's not just a theoretical debate.
Right. It's a practical one, too.
It's about how we actually live.
How we understand ourselves.
Knowing that we're influenced by all these things.
Right, but also capable of making choices that matter.
Yeah.
Choices that shape our life.
Well, this has been a fascinating deep dive.
It has.
Into this world of incompatibilist thought.
We've gone from radical theories
to mind-bending ideas.
Yeah, wrestled with that big question of evidence.
Yeah. And I think, as with any good philosophical exploration,
right,
we probably have more questions now than we started with.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah. It's just a reminder that there's always more to discover.
More to ponder.
And more to learn about this, like this age-old
question.
Yeah, it just makes me want to keep thinking about it and exploring.
So, dear listener, as we wrap up, we leave you with this. What does free will mean to you?
Yeah, that's a great question.
What kind of freedom are you striving for in your own life?
Knowing everything we've talked about.
Knowing all the complexities and the challenges.
Yeah, keep those questions in mind.
Yeah.
As you continue your own explorations.
Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.
See you next time.